There's actually, I mean, you guys, this movie is so Colombian and it's so specific. And I think a lot of the challenges that people talk about when making like Latino content is like there's such a diversity of experience. There's immigrant, first generation, second generation. There's different countries and like cultures, you know. But I think there is like a universal humanity to all of that. And like, can you guys talk a little bit about like making this very like specific Colombian movie and what makes it universal?
Well, I think one of the things when we were doing the junket, let's call it, that Esteban said was that when you make something incredibly specific, it tends to be more universal, which I thought was one of the dopest statements I've heard described about a film. And that was before I even saw it. Last night was the first time I've seen the film, excluding some ADR sessions. And I was just, you know, you just have expectations. This is my 5th film, my 4th time here, and I just talked to them about how I felt about the previous films, and I was just entertained just to see my brother just kind of be not who he is in real life, and myself go back to my 16-year-old ignorance and sort of stupidity and exaggerated, and yeah.
For those of you who don't know, he's my older brother. In the film, I play his older brother. And so
it'd be too much explaining, like, what happened?
Well, let's talk about that.
Go deeper into that.
Did you take a page from how he treated you and vice versa?
No, because of the height difference, honestly, we've been twins our whole life.
That's what I like to say.
There's a mutual respect there.
I've never been his big brother, and
he would whip my ass, though, growing up. But it was more of a mental thing. And then my dad would always encourage me to, like, fight back. He'd be like, bro, you're almost twice his size. What are you doing?
Those push-ups.
Yeah. And one day I just gathered the courage, and I remember fighting back, and it was just like one of those moments for me that was just like, okay, cool, we're even. Now it's like, now we can be twins.
You remember that, Moy?
Oh, absolutely. That was traumatizing.
My dad was thriving. I've never seen him laugh so much in his life.
But I wanted to ask you guys a question, too, about just process. As actors for this movie, you guys have obviously been with it since the short. Did you guys prepare together? Do you guys have different methods of acting? How does that work because you guys are in such close proximity for it? And how much time did you spend with Esteban and Erick preparing for it because you guys already had, you know, time together for the short? How has that relationship evolved over the years? Because it's been, like we said, you know, at least 4 years that it's been going.
Mm-hmm. I think after 4 years after the short was finished and premiered at the festivals that it premiered at.
See, this is why.
Wow.
This is why we captured in the movie.
One of the first things that Esteban told me to do was stop working out, which was like, oh, bro, dang. But, you know, I at a certain moment, I was like, yo, if I can't hide this, let's just make it a part of it. And I think in preparation for Mateo and me, I think there was definitely discussion, and mostly on set. It was really like, we've collaborated before ourselves, just us two. He talks to me, I talk to him, you know, shooting our own things. When it comes to collaborating with a person like Esteban, I think one of the biggest things is having that trust and being able to be like, yo, bro, please tell me what I'm doing. Please tell me what I should be doing differently, or if you feel any sort of inauthenticity. And he was worried about 500 other things. So since me and Mateo already have that relationship, I think we did a lot of...
yeah, he did a lot of checking me on set. You know what I'm saying? We'd be in the middle of takes or like right after a take, and he'd be like, hey, watch this, or like, you know what I'm saying, certain expressions or certain things. And he would check me, and I'd get pissed at him, and then it'd end up working for the scene.
And you also promoted us getting handsy.
Yeah.
That already is annoying. What I just did. You know what I'm saying?
It's very physical.
So like that physicality really helped those scenes that you know, that brothers really have at that age.
And that was one of my favorite moments in the movie is when you have that moment and you explain what your project is about, and it's like otherworldly scientific language, very sophisticated, unlike anything I've seen. And then, you know, the professor who's the authority in you know, space, he's looking at your diagram, and we kind of like close into that thing, and it's like, man, that is the idea. You know, that is.
I literally wanted to cry during that scene. We shot that at 3 a.m. that was like the last scene of that day. We'd been shooting all day, and I was just hoping that it was going to come up, because scenes kept getting flipped around, and I was just like, yo, I really need this scene to just take place because I would like to just do it. I have it in me right now, you know what I'm saying? My mental game is strong at this, specific moment, but it just kept getting postponed, whatever. We didn't have that much time to finish that scene, but it was a really difficult scene. It was really wordy, and I had been rehearsing it for like a good amount of time, but definitely when the time came, it was just like tunnel vision, and it's just, there was a lot that I understood, but so much that I still did not understand, you know what I'm saying? It was just like, it's easy to remember something when you see through it, right? And you can clearly understand what it is that you're explaining. And I had 80% of that, but that 20 was really just screwing me over at 3 a.m. in that moment. And I remember almost panicking, but, somehow we were able, there was one take, and I remember, we have this thing with the number 49, and it has to do a lot with my dad, but I remember just, right before he yelled action, I looked at my phone. It was 2:49 a.m. And I was just like, boom, let everything go. And I just walked into the room and we started the scene. And somehow I just tapped into a stream of consciousness. And like we were able to get at least one take of that monologue, essentially.
And I remember that. And before that happened, you were doing the thing and you messed up and you were like, no, this shit will not be mediocre. Fucking erased the thing and stormed out of the room, and then we did that take.
Yeah.
It was perfect, except you did the drawing differently, so I had to fix it in VFX. Yes.
Damn.
Yes.
Why did you expose
Why did
me
you
just
have
now?
to say that?
Called out.
Yeah, but you did good. You did good, man.
He did amazing. I was there. You killed it.
The marriage of the metal with the hip hop was crucial for us. Teo's hip hop is as aggressive as the death metal, and so they both were very masculine, very energy driven. So the score was interesting to marry those two worlds that are completely opposites, but at the same time are so similar because they are so angsty and so full of
Rebellious.
testosterone and all that. Yeah,
It's rebellious.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you guys, how did it help you in your process to find, the characters, knowing that this was going to be the music scape?
Music is the most important thing for me in preparation for anything. I think I've heard many actors say that before, but I realized that in myself that in Colombia, let's for example for Monos, I didn't talk to Teo or my family for about 3 or 4 months, and all I did was listen to Spanish music, ask my friends and my fellow actors who were non-actors what music they were vibing with. This was when Ozuna was coming out, and I was like, what in the world is this? And in Italy, I mean, not that when I was working there I spoke Italian, but I was just motivated to pick that up. That was something else. But for this, I think the metal really helped Teo.
I was falling asleep to.
it really lulls you to sleep. You should try it.
Yo, yeah, he made a playlist for me on Spotify, Esteban. With just a lot of Metallica and Bedor, which is also plays a very important part in the film. And I'm not necessarily a huge fan. I was never really tuned in to the metal music or the movement like that. But as soon as I took it on, there was just a different vibe to me. And since 2015, I had been kind of on that vibe, and I got 5 years of understanding Carly, which was great. And the music definitely played a huge role. And strangely enough, when you adapt to something, it eventually just became first nature, I guess. I would actually start to bang the music, and I wouldn't dislike. I would actually vibe on it. My girl definitely didn't, but I was lucky enough to have a record in the song. A song in the film. I remember when we pulled up to Bogota in preparation, for shooting. He was just like, "Yo, chuck some new tunes on. Like, what have you been working on?" I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." I don't really share my music all the time. I kind of keep it to myself until it's ready. But I was just like, "Yeah, these are my guys. I'll play them some songs." And so, I just started. I played them one of the songs that, and it was a reggaeton song that I'd been working on called Rico
Eric
Now.
and I would look at each other like, we need this.
Theo,
We need this song. Why did you play it? What's so amazing too is that it's like if you watch the movie, if you've had the chance to see it, your Spanish is so perfect. It's like it's your first language.
Thank you. I mean, it was our first
is.
language.
You know,
Yeah, it is our
and
first
it,
language.
if you only speak Spanish,
It's
no
not
English,
our
like
dominant
it's,
anymore, but yes, it was our first.
So you guys mainly speak it with your parents, right? And your
I
family.
can't talk to him in Spanish unless I'm telling a secret, and I can't talk
Cheese
to my
man?
parents in English. It's super weird.
We have friends. It's so strange. We grew up with people that their parents didn't speak Spanish, but sorry. Their parents didn't speak English, and the kids didn't speak Spanish. You know, and it was just like, how do you guys communicate? You know, and it was like the strangest thing. And I'm like, I never really thought much of it, but like growing up, I'm so thankful to my parents for, you know, forcing us to speak Spanish.
Thank
I
you.
mean, it was just like natural.
For teaching them Spanish.
The world
But it's
thanks
also
you.
like there's such a warmth to, you know, the Colombian Spanish. If I hear somebody speak with the honestly the Paisa accent, it's just like this feeling I get where I'm just like, it just feels like home.
Yo,
you know?
yesterday we were like in this line outside over here in this some bar, and the door guy, like I hear him. There were 30 people in front of us, and this guy was, and I hear this Colombian accent. I was, yo, are you Colombian? Colombiano? Yeah, dude. And like, oh, Colombiano, yeah, we have a movie. And it's like, oh, hold on. And then he went over there. Yeah, you guys can come in. That's so funny.